All right, guys. Episode 5. Let's warm up. Vocals. Let's go.
Let's get it. Gino Linetti, spaghetti confetti. Gino Linetti, spaghetti confetti.
The sassy shepherd startles with syphilis. The sassy shepherd startles with syphilis. The sassy shepherd startles with syphilis.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing two men. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing two men. Wacky inflatable arm flailing two men. Hi, I'm Al Harrington, president and CEO of Al Harrington's Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing two men emporium and warehouse. Thanks to a shipping error, I am now currently overstocked on wacky waving inflatable arm flailing two men, and I'm passing the savings on to you. Attract customers to your business. Make a splash at your next presentation. Keep grandma company. Protect your crops. Confuse your neighbors. African American. Hail a cab. Testify in church, or just raise the roof. Whatever your wacky waving inflatable arm flailing two men needs are. So come on down to Al Harrington's waving inflatable arm flailing tube man emporium and warehouse route 2 in Weekapog.
Is your voice warmed up, Dad?
It's lit.
Okay.
Hello and welcome back to the Flat Tire, everybody. Hi Keishan, hi Brandon, how
What's
are
up,
you?
Ramsey? I'm good. How about you, Brandon?
I'm aight.
Aight.
I?
Aight.
Nose.
So today in this episode, we got a few cool topics. Not as much electric EV stuff. A little bit of petrol engines to go around. Brandon, what are you talking about today?
Well, speaking of not talking about EVs, I'm going to be talking about the electric Hummer.
Okay, we're toning it down. We're working on it. There's a lot of electric vehicles in the news lately.
And we're trying to stay current.
Yeah, and they're cool.
Wow.
They're
that
cool.
was good.
I didn't even realize.
Current!
Thank
That's
you.
a good one.
Thank you.
I think my jokes are rubbing off on you guys.
Stop rubbing off on me, please.
I'm sorry, I'll do that after the show.
All right. Speaking of vulgar words, my parents got mad at me the other day
Hi, Mom.
because I swore. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I swore a couple times, and I walked into the house. I'm like, "We watched your podcast." I'm like, "Sick. Any feedback? Stop swearing." I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry."
Ah, shit.
If that's not brown people problems, I don't know what is.
It's okay though. I do swear a lot. I'm gonna try to tone it down. So
That's all good.
yeah, that's my little spiel about me getting in trouble with
But
my parents.
speaking of brown things, brown bag coffee roasters. Thank you, guys. This is huge news.
this is an official sponsor, eh?
Official
That's-
sponsor. You could tell we're pretty excited right now because we've had a couple cups of this coffee. Yes,
Thank you.
couple.
Thank you to Brown Bag Coffee Roasters for being
Cheers,
the Greasy Fix's official first. Don't make a spill.
bit of a spill.
First official sponsor of the Flat Tire. The people over at Brown Bag Coffee Roasters have always been pretty supportive of the Greasy Fix, starting out with just giving out some samples for our Run 91 to letting us host our Cars and Coffee event at their place. We're huge fans of Brown Bag Coffee Roasters. They make single origin coffee. They just released a new one from India. That was made with the monsoon rain.
Yeah.
And Ramsey's going to tell us about that.
So this India coffee, sourced from India, of course, is a strong, full-bodied, multi-sweet, smoky, and earthy delivery. It essentially describes Keishan. You know, he's very earthy and multi-sweet.
What?
So Brown Bag Coffee does not blend a bunch of low-quality beans together to make something that tastes like coffee. They use single origin. They source them from the country that the beans are grown, and the roasting process is very intricate. So if you ever want to stop by the Brown Bag Coffee Roasters shop,
We're a little riled up on coffee
Excuse
right
me.
now.
If you want to stop by their shop, Sean, the owner, will gladly walk you through the process, and he's going to tell you everything about it. He has nothing to hide, and he's a very great guy, so thank you very much. Another fun fact about Brown Bag Coffee Roasters, so you can order their coffee online, right? And you can have it shipped right to your door, and you can subscribe. But when it comes to the payment methods, you can pay with a debit card, a credit card, PayPal, and Bitcoin.
What?
You can pay for this coffee with Bitcoin.
So you can use a cryptocurrency to buy coffee?
Yeah.
Dude, that's nuts.
That's lit.
That's
so
crazy.
how does you could buy 16 grand if you have like one Bitcoin lying around, you can buy 16 grand worth
Lying
of
around like
coffee?
it's just in your pocket. You're like, oh, a Bitcoin.
Oh, I found a Bitcoin on the ground.
Bitcoin. So you can check out their website, bbcr.ca. You can see a lot of stuff. You can see all the roast profiles of the various coffees that they provide, and you can have coffee shipped right to your door
That's
whenever
cool.
you want,
That's really
anywhere in the world.
That's incredible.
And yeah, I go through like £2 a month between my family and I, and it's very competitively priced, and it's delicious. and cheap, and it ships in like 2-3 days.
It's really good. Brown bag coffee is really one of the only coffees that I can drink black. I'm not a big coffee guy, but just the amount of flavor and boldness in the coffee is incredible, and I'm so happy and honored that they've decided to partner with us on this podcast. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
Cheers. Cheers. And as the episode goes on, we may get more and more excited because this is pretty strong. This is cup number 3.
This is cup number 3. Holy
Fill
crap.
up my cup, muzzle toff, as the Black Eyed Peas once said.
Oh, yes. The
they
Black
did
Eyed
say
Peas.
that.
They did say
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
Anyway, moving on.
I'm going to start us off.
Let's get right into it.
Speaking of being all charged up.
I'm so fired up right now.
Being all charged up. Another one. Hi.
Me and Keishan share the same brain.
And my jokes are rubbing off on them.
Again,
I have a great
please
one
stop
today.
rubbing off on me.
I have a great joke.
Stop swearing, my parents are listening.
No. Anyway, let's
Okay, so first and foremost, welcome back to the Hummer. The Hummer is one of the vehicles that really drove a divide between people. Some people loved it for its raw power, its sheer size, and some people hated it because it just stood for America, the land of the guns and cowboy yeehaw boys. And that's cool if you're into that. We like our JDM cars and our Euro cars. Keishan broke his pen.
Oh no.
I think it was Claire's pen. Claire looks really angry at Keishan for breaking her pen. That's
sorry.
not what you're here for. But GMC is going to be building the Hummer. Before it was GM, and Hummer was its own brand.
Okay.
They're not going to recreate the Hummer brand on its own because it's going to cost them a shit ton of money, and they already have a division of GM that essentially just makes SUVs and trucks.
Okay.
So this is very fitting to have Hummer be a part of their lineup.
So it's a GMC Hummer. The model is the Hummer.
Yes.
There's no H1, H2, H3, whatever.
Well, there's going to be, we don't know much
Okay.
because it's still very new, but I assume they would have different variants of the Hummer,
Okay.
just like they had the that weird pickup Hummer
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot about
that
that.
Useless.
had like the trunk space
Yeah.
of this table. Like it really wasn't
Yeah.
a truck, but it was a truck.
Yeah.
I've always been a huge fan of the Hummer. I don't know why. There's like it's not very fast, obviously, because it weighs
Why?
like 17 planets. It's got the turning radius of a sun,
Of a bus maybe.
but
Suns.
I think it was like 20 feet turning radius.
That
like,
is freaking
yeah,
nice.
that's like a 4-lane highway's worth of turning radius. But it was an off-road beast,
Yeah.
and that's what it was essentially designed for. And I don't know if you guys know that it had portal axles. Do you guys know what portal axles are?
Is that the thing when they shoot the gun and then it like, boop, boop.
Oh, like the game
Yeah.
portal.
Like the
Yeah,
game?
it's like Bluetooth drive axles.
Oh, so they're
How
wireless axles essentially.
You got it. No, but
Portal axles. Do you have a photo of it in the?
I do.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
so what portal axles
that's
do
true.
is on a regular car, you have your transmission, sends out the axles come out to your wheels.
Okay.
And it's comparatively very low to the ground. On a portal axle system, your whole differential is set up closer to the body of the truck, and it sends power outwards and then down through the portal axles and then out. So what's good about that is you get a lot of ground clearance, and then you also get more of a torque increase depending on the gearing that you have in this portal axle. We'll
Okay.
post a picture up so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. So that's really great for off-roading.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this portal essentially like another differential on each wheel?
Essentially, yeah.
Because there's
Because it's a gear and then a gear.
Yeah.
For more extreme off-roading systems, you can have different gear ratios and whatnot
Okay.
to suit the kind of off-roading you're going to be doing, whether it's just going on a dirt road or if you're like hardcore rock climbing, you're going to need different torque multiplication systems to help you get over those really jagged and angular rocks.
Okay.
So
That's pretty cool.
All the differential type of rocks, you know?
Yeah, you got it. Stop it.
joke
Now,
comes at
GM
the
stopped the
end.
production of the Hummer in 2010 and is bringing it back in the fall of 2021, 11 years later.
So next year?
Yeah, in
That's
the
not this-
fall.
okay,
That's
okay.
when they say, that's when the expected release date is going to be.
Okay.
And then remember when when we started talking about electric cars, you were saying, well, people didn't like SUVs because of the size and the big engines and the larger amount of pollution that these vehicles produce because of their size and engine displacement, and how, well, maybe we're going to go back to the trend of big SUVs if they all go electric. So this is actually a really cool thing talking about trends. Like this is gonna maybe like with the release of the Hummer, which was honestly one of the biggest SUVs of its time.
Okay.
Like maybe now they're actually gonna start going back to that kind of stuff because families are growing and people just generally like big SUVs. Like my mom has a SUV when we don't tow shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't, how much can you really tow with a CRV though?
Well, I mean, but that's a CRV. Like,
Okay.
you know, you're not towing a boat, but like your F-150s, your F-350s, you know what I
think
mean?
yeah, like SUVs are so desirable nowadays because it's like a one car does all.
Yeah.
You go to the cottage in the summer, you go skiing in the winter, you pick up all your children, your family, you move things around, like
Yeah, white
just-
people shit.
essentially, yeah. Like and then
I
in
don't
the
know
winter
this.
you got all wheel drive. Just make sure you put winter tires on.
Yeah.
And,
That's true. Okay, so we're gonna talk Hummer, new electric Hummer, and the last year of the Hummer and the 2010 Hummer Alpha. So this would be like its best form throughout its production range or time. So the Alpha Hummer came with a V8, made 300 horsepower and 320 foot-pounds of torque. It had a maximum towing capacity of 6,000 pounds.
Pretty low.
Which is decent
It's decent.
for a V8.
But like your horsepower and your torque is pretty low, in my opinion, for a V8.
I think it's the suspension is probably what can't take the towing capacity there.
I think
I think the engine can totally do
well,
it.
because I think most of it is because the Hummer weighs 9 tons. Not really 9 tons, but it's a big, heavy vehicle.
I used to have a remote control Hummer when I was a kid.
Did you get it from Walmart? Was
No,
it, that,
it was from before the Source was the Source. It was from Radio Shack.
I had
And it
one of
had
those.
headlights.
Yeah.
And reverse lights, and like it had some bouncy suspension, and like it had like
How
big
big was it?
It was like this big, roughly.
Because I feel like I had one too.
it was black.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
My-
had like did it have like
oh,
chrome
sorry.
wheels?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
So I had like a Humvee version though. So it
Right.
had a little gun turret and everything.
No way.
Yeah, so it was pretty sweet. One of my friends drove it off of a dock at a cottage and it got destroyed.
Are you still friends with that
should-
person?
No, I don't talk to
Good.
them anymore. They
This
destroyed my
this one,
car.
right? You had this one, RC.
No, it wasn't that one. That one's more of like a monster truck. That is cool.
I had the big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine was more of like the army style kind of thing.
Okay,
It's very
okay.
similar though.
Are you gonna post a picture? So
Yeah,
people
I'll
can
put
see?
a picture up of it.
Oh.
It's
Sure.
it's cool. But anyway, carry on with the
Okay,
comparison
so,
of new electric
It
Hummer.
cost $33,900 USD in 2010,
Okay.
which
I thought that
seems
was the
like
new
it's
one.
hella low.
That is pretty cheap. but
That's MSRP.
that's
Oh,
base
wow,
model,
okay.
or that's
That's the Alpha.
that's the cream of the cream.
Yeah. Which to me seems like crazy low, but we're also at a time where like everything is hella expensive, especially like when you talk vehicles. So maybe back then that was crazy expensive, but so adjusted for inflation to 2020, it comes up to 48.9
Which is still reasonably priced
for a
if you think
Hummer,
about
like
it.
just
Yeah.
the size of the thing alone.
Yeah.
And then in Canadian dollars, that's $64,720.
Okay, that makes sense.
Which again isn't that bad for an H3 Alpha, which was the highest trim available in 2010.
Was the H3 the smaller of the Hummers?
This
No,
one.
that was
How
an
they-
H2.
That one right
okay,
there.
sorry, I didn't
so
mean
it was
to.
like
Yeah.
that was the only thing available, I think, at the time.
Okay.
Now for the new Hummer, we don't know much about it. GMC has released 3 YouTube videos, and they're pretty like they don't show the car at all. Like one of them is like
low key.
a crazy amount of a bunch of horses running, and it plays the sound effects of horses running, and it says horsepower, and then it shows the same video without any noise in the background. It says silent horsepower, and you're like, okay, cool.
Interesting.
All right.
Good job being edgy, GM. But they also have a 30-second Super Bowl ad that's airing at the Super Bowl, which
Tonight?
is today,
Yeah.
during the second intermission, I think.
Okay.
What we do know about the new Hummer, it's going to feature 1,000 horsepower.
1,000?
1,000
What?
horsepower and 11,500 foot-pounds of torque. That's
I mean
almost
1,100?
no 11,000.
11,000 foot-pounds.
That's not unreasonable though because it is electric.
It is electric, but
11,000.
11,500
goodness.
foot-pounds. That's almost double what the
Bro.
original. I know, and that's like 3 times the horsepower.
My current Golf has 177 foot-pounds. 177. This is 11000.
11500.
Oh,
There's a 5 in there. Damn.
There's a 5.
can you use it throughout the entire range of RPM.
Well, with electric motors,
I guess RPM.
the faster it turns, the less torque you get. That's why electric vehicles are so fast off the line.
So it's like a
because
downward
They
slope.
produce the most torque at 0 RPM.
That's insane.
It's 0
you
to
do
60
it?
time. It's 0 to 100 time is 3 seconds.
How
Can that thing just do
Sorry,
donuts on command?
how
Like, just-
how big is this?
We don't know because they haven't showed us what it fully
If it's
looks like.
3 seconds, dude, I can't imagine this being very big.
I made a list of cars that it's faster than supercar. So this is supercar territory.
okay.
3 seconds is supercar territory. And I made a list of
Yeah.
cars that this is faster than from 0 to 100.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's hear it.
It's faster than an Aston Martin Vantage and DBS Superleggera. It's faster than pretty much every Bentley. It's faster than a Corvette ZR1,
Jeez.
2019.
Okay.
It's faster than a Hellcat SRT Red Eye.
What?
Faster than a Lamborghini Urus. A Huracan LP 580.
No.
Jeez, man.
Mercedes AMG GTR. Does that not blow your mind?
That does blow my mind.
So
That's
it's and that's like
That's crazy.
so this is quite the contender for the electric vehicle market, SUVs.
Watch it have a range of 50 kilometers.
I would still drive it because
like
can
all
you
that power.
imagine?
That's so much power. Dude, that thing can do donuts on the spot probably. If you
Probably.
crank the wheel and pin it with 11,000 foot-pounds, you should be able to just...
So
I live my Hummer a quarter mile at a time.
and I think what's
Sorry.
crazy is remember when the Hellcat first came out and everybody was just getting blown away by this thing.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it was doing wheelies at drag strips and getting shut down by the NHRA for being way too fast without a parachute. Like I think SUVs are going to start blowing our freaking minds the way that these cars have been doing in recent times.
That's
Okay.
insane.
So
I'm curious as to whether... So this is the rumored specs of the vehicle, and then at the Super Bowl, we're going to see maybe what the car looks like. However, when the road-going version is actually released, I'm curious to know how much it'll cost and if it will have that much power.
So I
That's
That's true.
I
that's a
made a
lot of-
quick
that's
estimate based on
okay. Yeah, carry on.
I made a quick estimate based on market prices comparatively to other SUVs.
Okay.
So I think it's going to start around 80 grand.
Reasonable.
As a base, probably the less of the like mileage that you can get out of the batteries. And I think it could probably go up to 120,000 easily. When
Yeah,
we're
I
talking
could see
full
that.
trim with the better range. Like it
I mean, a decked out F-250 Ford with like an extended cab and a four-door and all the options is well over $100,000. So that's like for people who are in the market for a vehicle that can tow a lot of things, can hold their families, can hold their dogs, can go to the cottage, can do work. I mean, it's reasonable. I want to know how it looks. And
Well, we do have a couple of renders going around. Obviously, they're not
It's-
going to be the same thing, but
elongated muskrat, you know, GM's coming for him.
well, what's funny is that the
The
Hummer
Cybertruck.
I know.
the Hummer itself has that same. You know how the Cybertruck has that single like light bar in the middle?
Yeah.
Yes.
The new Hummer from the pictures that they've released has that same style of just
I
that,
see it.
Oh, dude, that looks
Of just like
nasty.
of that single clean unbroken line all the way in the front.
It literally has that.
This one. So is that the
noise.
only like officially released photo by GM?
Well, this is a render.
So the photo I have is just the front grille and headlights, and it says GMC under it, under the R down below.
Yeah. So that one was released by GM.
Okay. So currently, as it stands, the electric SUVs that are kind of the most apparent. So we got Tesla Cybertruck, we got this new Hummer, we got the Rivian.
Rivian.
We haven't spoken about that. We'll talk about
It's
that
a
one
good
one
looking
day.
truck.
That's a pickup truck,
Mm-hmm.
and no one else has really made an electric SUV that has stood out
Yeah,
to
like
date.
the
There-
Jaguar F-Pace was kind of like
Nah.
it's a good looking SUV, but numbers wise doesn't blow my
It's
mind.
also a crossover. I wouldn't consider that a.
Yeah.
It's a small, compact
Yeah.
little thingy. Looks cool.
There is an SUV. It's obviously not tailored to this market, but it was raced in Dakar.
Dakar, like
Dakar.
the desert rally.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's called the Extreme E. Ken Block actually drove it in the final stage. dude, it looks fucking cool. So I wouldn't be
That car.
surprised that Hummer may be tailoring something for the future
What's it called?
to Extreme E.
Extreme.
Yeah.
E.
Dakar Rally, which
Yeah.
just means I agree in French.
Does it? Dakar? Oh,
Dakar.
Dakar. Dakar.
No, but it's spelled
Dakar.
completely different.
Yeah, obviously, but
Dakar.
It is Dakar. Kishan, you have to get in the car.
Ramsey said his
I
joke.
like
If you
it.
say one at the end of
I
the
like
episode,
it.
I'm going to kill you.
I have such a great joke today.
Anyways, that was kind of off topic, but just that the numbers
cool.
from the Hummer just kind of remind me of that. And I wonder if they're going to eventually go into like the competitive state of like, rallying and stuff like that.
Electric
Anyways,
SUV rally cross racing.
it sounds ghostly. I don't really understand it, but whatever. Watch the video. It's on
They
YouTube.
would be
It's cool.
monsters, dude.
Yeah.
I think
Electric
electric.
SUV.
I think electric rallying, electric off-roading, like true rock climbing competitions, I think are going to be amazing to see.
100%.
With just I don't think technology around, like if you have a super strong engine but you can't put the power down, like I think tire development, suspension development, and just general technology to be able to handle this much power has to. I think it needs to start picking up its pace.
It will.
to keep up with shit like this, because this
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And 1,000 horsepower out of a Hummer, dude. They do like or people do these like big GM engine swaps on the Hummer with fucking turbos and diesels to try and just get some power out of it because they're so freaking slow. But 1,000 horsepower and 11,500 foot-pounds of torque, dude, you could just fucking tow a house.
One
You don't even
thing-
have to put it on wheels. You just wrap a chain around it, just move down the
Yo,
street.
do you know who can use that? The people in Fast 9. They just fucking take volts around and just
Oh!
send it with those.
That is true.
That was a transition.
Was it? 'Cause I forgot what I'm talking about.
Not anymore because you made it obvious. Something about F9. It's beside F8 and it's in front of F10.
What does F9 do when you press it?
For
what
me,
did it
it turns my trackpad off.
Oh,
Oh,
my
that's
computer
not
just caught fire. Just like this Alpha behind us. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you see an Alpha in public, don't look at it because it will catch fire.
Even the new ones?
Everyone.
Just Italian cars in general, or
Especially
just
Alphas.
Before you talk about F9,
Okay.
just one last point on the extremely overpowered electric SUVs. I think it's awesome because they're not going to get any like grief from environmentalists because they can push these cars like insane. The motors, the outputs that these motors have, they can just push them and push them. Before it's like, oh, you have an 8-liter V10 in that car just to get 800 horsepower. Now it's like, no, we just have a battery and a motor.
That's true.
And we're not hurting the environment. But that's going to be dangerous, man. Drivers already are terrible. They don't need that much torque. I don't want little Karen over there in her Tesla P85 with insane mode to
I don't
be
think
putting around, bro. That's too much power.
I don't think Karen is running her insane mode or
I
ludicrous mode.
I think personally that's way too much power for the majority of people to have.
But that's also going to be out of price range for a lot of people
True.
Fair.
to afford it.
Okay.
But
That's why we have insurance.
that is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Do you think Fast and the Furious is going to make an electric car version of one of their movies?
Wait, what? Oh, like every car just situated.
Yeah, like that would be such a quiet movie.
Yeah, but think about it though.
Toretto,
They
grab my hand.
They're going to lose so many shifting scenes too.
no, they just changed cars though. So they changed cars 30 times before they reach the end of the runway. So that would be their gear changes, right?
They're
Would that
chasing
not-
people down, you stop, get into another car, keep
Oh
going.
shit, guy, hold on! I got a new car. Okay, let's just wait a couple seconds.
So
Alright, we good. We
What's
good.
this you're talking about? Fast 9? Is that happening? Is that a thing or is it a rumor?
So some trailers just got dropped a couple days ago.
Okay.
Some of them were kind of spoiler. This is a spoiler if you guys haven't seen it, so go watch it. I'm gonna spoil it anyways. I don't care.
It's in the trailer. I mean.
Yeah, it's in the trailer. One of the things that I really like about this is that I'm actually kind of confused about is Han is supposedly back, but he blew up. So is he like an electric Han? Like
I am a
hybrid?
Han from the future. You must die.
So the
love
veiled
Han.
side, the veiled side RX-7 that he was driving in Tokyo Drift,
I love that car.
it was pretty cool. It flipped over, it blew up. Jason Statham was like, you're dead, and whatever. It blew up. Right? We saw him perish in Tokyo Drift.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't understand how they're going to bring him back to life. But just kind of going through Han's Instagram, and one of the posters for the movie. It shows Han with a Mark V Supra
Ooh.
with the veal side kind of the style livery with the orange and black. It looks kind of cool.
Well, didn't Toyota say they don't want to be involved with street racing, and that's why they're not in racing games?
I don't know. It's Fast 9. It's not street racing. It's just bank robberies. It's different.
Oh, true.
It's
True. You're not
different.
right. And airplane runway driving.
Yes, airplane runway driving. That is true.
So that's not really street racing. That's
No,
airport
it's-
racing.
Tarmac racing.
True.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So go watch the trailer. It's worth it. I'm not a big fan of the newer movies, but this seems very captivating just to know how they resurrected a few people here and there. It also shows Dominic Toretto and Letty. They have a child now together.
God dang it.
And a tractor.
And a tractor. Yeah, did you see that? I think that's a Porsche tractor, by the way.
Seriously?
I think so. It looked like it.
Have you seen that Porsche commercial where the guy has a Porsche tractor?
That's- yeah.
And he's like, oh, I need a part. And he calls the Porsche dealer and they pull out this old dusty book and they're like, yes, we have that part for you. And then he comes in and trades it for a 911. Like, you're a farmer. How are you going to, you have no job now.
Okay. Keishan
do all
actually
the
showed me a
work
really
stuff.
cool Porsche commercial the other day. It was like everyone in the factory, like someone tries to steal a Taycan Turbo S, and then everyone, like all the security guards just hop in all the Porsches and chase them down, and then in the end there was just a game and like, oh, I'm gonna be the bad guy next, and I want to steal the Taycan, and then they gave one of the guys, he's like, which one do I get? And this guy hands him keys and he gets in the Porsche tractor. It's just like rumbling down the road. Everyone's speeding. He's like, blah, 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 blah.
He stalls it halfway up the hill. He's like, shit, put it back in gear.
I stalled my
going.
car today.
It's really good.
Twice.
It's really good.
Oh, speaking of irony, even though that wasn't ironic, I got a flat tire this week.
Oh, he told me.
Flat tire. Listen to it on the radio and get one too.
Yeah,
You
so
can listen to us while you change a flat tire.
I got a flat tire, and I was like, oh, I got a flat tire. I'm like, oh, I can talk about this on the podcast.
How did it make you feel?
Well,
Deflated?
a little bit,
A little winded?
exhausted of air.
So Fast 9 doesn't look exciting to me.
I want to see it just because it's entertaining.
I get it's. I'm gonna watch it for the culture, but otherwise, like, I'm not. I don't even remember if I saw the 8th one. What happened in the 8th one?
I have no clue. Dominic Toretto flexed his forearm and had a really shiny head, and oh, you can have any beer in my house. Something along those lines.
that was
So-
that was like 17 movies ago.
Anyway, so you mentioned the Hummer, the electric Hummer, and they're airing a commercial for that in the Super Bowl. Another vehicle that will be debuted in the Super Bowl commercials is a Hyundai Genesis GV80. It is
a
an
lot of letters and
SUV. It is a Hyundai Genesis SUV. So they have extended the Hyundai Genesis range. They have a coupe, they have a 4-door, and now they have an SUV. As you can see here, it is lighting up a speed bump for some reason. So you got two options for the engine. You got a 2.5 liter four-cylinder. There's no horsepower numbers on that, or a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 making 375 horsepower. It's going to cost around $50,000.
U.S.
Yes, US dollars, and it will be out this summer of 2020. So in South Korea, they got a diesel model of this vehicle. We will not be getting a diesel Hyundai Genesis GV80 in North America.
It's crazy that they made a diesel because a lot of manufacturers are like, yep, no more diesels. Like BMW's not making any more diesels. Volkswagen should have stopped making diesels. You know what's funny though is that Volkswagen wasn't the only one to do emissions spoofing.
Emission spoofing.
Dodge did the same thing a long time ago with their Cummins.
I'm sorry.
Really?
So-
Really?
As you can see here, this lovely interior on the Genesis GV80. What do you think of that, Keishan? It's very futuristic looking, kind of cool.
It does look futuristic. It looks like it belongs in an electric car. I'm not going to lie.
It has a backwards RPM gauge, I think. The RPM gauge starts on the right, unless it's just redlining it in the
That's-
photo.
Well, might as well redline it 24/7.
Looks like it because if you look on the bottom right of where the dial is, it looks like it's red at the bottom.
So maybe that's just a render flaw. But you will
possibly.
see this vehicle on the streets. I think it's just more SUVs
Yeah,
that
but that's a good looking interior.
it is. It is a good looking interior.
Have you seen the ad that what's his name, John Legend and his wife did for it?
for this vehicle?
Yeah,
No.
I saw it on YouTube the other day. They're like, we're done with old luxury. Welcome to new luxury. And then the car shows up, and then John Legend's like, I'm the sexiest man alive.
Can't remember what John Legend looks like.
Why is it lighting up a speed bump though?
It's not lighting up a speed bump. That's a camera on the. It's
shoots light?
It's showing you that it'll highlight speed bumps, or clearly the speed bump doesn't belong on this roadway. So I think it's highlighting the fact that this camera can see road obstacles and be like, I'm gonna try and avoid this or slow down. But it's a good looking. I really like that grille, and I really like the split headlights.
I don't like the back.
It almost looks Aston Martin-like. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you're right.
It has that kind of sleek Aston Martin look.
That grille and
But
the Genesis emblem really gives you, because it kind of looks like an Aston emblem.
Yeah. I think the new Genesis sedans are pretty sweet. So it's cool to see that they're extending that niceness into the SUV. It's not just like some ugly. They carefully crafted this vehicle. But once that's released, we'll talk a bit more about it. Maybe Hyundai, you can give us one to test. I would love to.
Genesis, not Hyundai.
Genesis. Oh, yeah,
Genesis.
their own brand now.
Yeah.
Didn't even
Which
know
is
that.
it's pretty cool. I see a lot of new manufacturers kind of doing that now.
Mhm.
Like Ford with the Mustang, they're trying to rebrand Mustang to be its own kind of, I guess, brand now. Subdivision.
Yeah.
And now Chevy, I think, is doing a whole Corvette division or something. I heard something about that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But that's I'll do some research and
Yeah, I know
and
there's
see
like
what else is
Polestar.
happening. Polestar.
Polestar is now Polestar Cars is their
its own thing.
Yeah, they're their own thing.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's like imagine it as if though they're like Tesla, like they're very like
Who's this? Polestar?
yeah, they're very, how do I put it? They're very like it seems almost like they're uptight about their own brand, like the Polestar has now become this like high end
I beg to differ.
Volvo. What do you mean? Like
Because
all their-
Polestar gave so the Kaiser and Kilogram, the Polestar gave them a car to design for the Need for Speed. It was the poster car for Need for Speed,
which
right?
was a good
Yeah,
looking-
and Polestar's like, here's a car, and then they just wide-bodied it and put some ridiculous wing on. So I don't know if they're too uptight.
But if you look at their Instagram page and stuff, like a lot of their things are very like elegance redefined,
yeah,
electricity, and you're like, okay,
Current.
bougie as fuck.
bougie. So we're moving on from the Hyundai Genesis GV80, the Hummer, the Fast 9. We got Motor Trend's World's Greatest Drag Race number 9. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
Ooh.
So they took all of the 2019 Best Drivers cars and put them in a drag race. This drag race took place at Vandenberg Air Force Base. This facility launched a lander on Mars last year, which is pretty cool. And they have a 15,000-foot runway, which is 4.5 kilometers long.
Dude, that is perfect for Fast 9.
Oh, yes.
Fast 9?
Fast 9. I don't think it's long enough.
Drag race number 9.
It's not long enough. So this drag race featured cars like the new Toyota Supra, 911 Carrera S, AMG GT63, 850i, BMW, M2 Competition, DBS, Aston Martin, Superleggera, an Urus, Hellcat, Red Eye, wide body, a McLaren Senna, which probably shouldn't have been there because it's way out of.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's way out of everyone's
If you
league.
look at the lap times, or not the lap time, the like quarter mile drag time, it's a full second faster than the Porsche, which came in second place. Like the middle of the pack was like reasonably within a couple hundreds of a second within each other, and then the fucking Senna is 1 second faster than everybody than the
Yeah,
Porsche.
so I think that Mercedes is absolutely beautiful.
So, sorry, you were saying there's an Urus?
There's an Urus.
Urus in that drag race?
Yeah, correct.
Was that the only SUV in it?
That is the only SUV here. You can see a nice photo. One car that personally is a favorite of mine is the Jaguar XE-SV Project 8. It's not a lot of words. I want to pull up another photo of it here. Look how beautiful that is.
That looks pretty nasty.
Look how beautiful it is.
That's cool.
So here we see it pictured on the track. It's blue. It's got racing-inspired styling, a big wing, big front splitter, a lot of holes for air, and it's cool. So it has a 322 kilometer per hour top speed, 400 millimeter carbon ceramic brakes with 6 piston rotors. Comes in 3 standard colors, as well as 5 SVO, they call it, premium palette options, or
Special vehicle options.
special vehicle operations is their like division where Jaguar designs really crazy cars. The car only costs $188,000.
Only.
Only 100. And if you're feeling real fancy, you can get the bespoke SVO edition with 10,000 further body accent colors, decals, painted calipers, commissioning plaque, and much more. So if you want to be unique, you can have this 592 horsepower supercharged V8 for your daily duties.
So will that be considered a supercar or just a sports car?
I think it's above sports.
Look
So
how
I
nice
think
that
like the
is.
FRS is a sports car.
Look at that. Look at that.
I really like the rather than
Look
using
at
like slats for the grill. I really like that they use like just like the holes rather than like strips.
Like
you know what I mean?
hexagonal
Yeah,
holes.
I really
The
do
styling,
that.
they absolutely killed it. Like, it's beautiful.
I love super sedans.
Same.
Yeah.
Super sedans. Super
I've
saloons.
Never been a fan of coupes.
Okay.
I wonder if Lexus would ever come back with their ISF. If that's
Ooh.
that was a super sedan in my books.
Those
Yeah.
are cool.
Naturally aspirated V8. Yeah.
Mm.
When we were at Luskville in 2019, we saw one there. Remember?
Yeah.
There was a silver one.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
I mean, they obviously they're not as competitive as obviously this Jag
Mhm.
and other
Well-
super sedans, but
But I think this one is a special case of super sedan. Like this isn't. They're not going to be mass producing these.
No.
So, but like I'd put like Jags, the cars that they Jag, Aston that they generally like manufacture more in larger numbers. I'd put them with Lexus.
Okay.
Because those three brands don't make cars that are like comparatively fast to a Lamborghini or a Ferrari,
okay, yeah.
but they're like luxury fast.
Mm.
Fair. But this thing was actually praised. It has a roll cage. It was praised on the Grand Tour. I think Richard Hammond might have driven it on season 3.
Mm.
So if you haven't seen that episode, check it out. It's actually, I want it. It's so cool. No, Jeremy drove it.
Jeremy.
Jeremy, because he's a big fan of British-made cars because
Yeah,
he
he's
is
British
British.
everything.
He praises McLaren.
Have you guys, speaking of the Grand Tour, have you seen James May's YouTube channel where he just like he takes apart things and they have like a camera down view of the table that he's working on, and he'll take stuff apart and he'll be like screw, and he'll just neatly place them side by side, and he'll whip out an owner's manual and then he'll put it back together all in his style, and it is so entertaining for no reason.
It's called like the Deconstructor or something.
Something like that,
Something
yeah.
It's cool. Like it's all like flat lay photography kind of style. And
cool.
he just like he talks about the history about like this one screw. It's like 5 millimeters fucking tall. Sorry,
yeah.
mom. Well, yeah.
They'll be like, screw, 5 millimeters. And then they'll talk, when he was talking about that screwdriver that he had to like find on eBay in Japan or something. And it
Yeah.
was like the special, like, fucking, it was so good.
It was for the Honda bike or something. Yeah.
yeah.
And speaking about Honda bikes, you've seen Japan, James May in Japan? James May in Japan?
Only
I
the
heard
first
about it. I
episode.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
guys haven't seen it, it's on Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon
cool.
Prime, get somebody's Amazon Prime login. But
Mhm.
James May Goes to Japan is brilliant. What was
Our
that?
Man in Japan.
What?
Our
called
Man
Our
in
Man
Japan.
in Japan.
Oh, Our
James
Man in
May,
Japan.
Our Man.
He goes to speaking of motorcycles, he goes to the Honda dealership in Japan, somewhere in, I forget what prefecture. But I know, I'm Japanese
Prefecture.
now. Prefecture. Anyways, he goes into the Honda dealership or the factory, and he gets to assemble one of the Honda bikes.
Oh
That's
my God, that
awesome.
must
Which
have been
is-
a freaking dream for
And,
him.
yeah, he was like,
That's
he's getting
awesome.
pretty pissed off because he couldn't do a few things. It was like I think it was a fuel line or something, and the people standing around him were just kind of staring at him, like laughing,
Just
like
not
"Ah,
helping
this
him.
Guy Jin can't do anything. It was pretty good.
He's a funny guy. He's
He
an
is.
underrated character. From,
like 100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so fast things, races on drag
Fast
strips.
things,
You
yeah.
mentioned something about Formula One.
Yeah,
Things are going on.
Yeah, before we start recording, I mentioned briefly about a Quebec family buying into a very big brand.
Okay.
So that Quebec family being the Stroll family. So Lawrence Stroll, who is very prominent, a lot of people know of him now from F1, but before that, he was really big into fashion. That's what built his brand. Now he's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, essentially.
Seriously? The
Yeah.
driver?
So
Driver?
the father of the
Oh,
driver.
the father
Yeah,
of the
the
driver.
driver's
So-
Lance Stroll.
Oh, okay.
Lance Stroll, yeah. He's a younger guy. Started off in karting and all that. I'll get into that. But Lawrence Stroll, who is the billionaire, started with Point Racing, or Force India bought into that.
Okay.
Rebranded it as Point Racing. Racing Point.
Racing Point.
Sorry, Racing Point.
Racing Point.
Yep. And now he struck a deal with Aston Martin.
Ooh.
So they now own almost 20%. It's 16.7%
Of Aston Martin?
of Aston Martin.
That's insane.
So a British company is now 20% Canadian.
That's
or
cool.
Quebexican, if you want to call it.
Quebexican.
For those who don't know,
Yeah. Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't know where you were. I want to hear what you were going to say.
You were just gonna say, for those that don't know, Mexico is in Quebec, and that's where we go do our illegal stuff, and then we come back to our, because you don't shit where you sleep.
Or that's where you
That's
eat.
a horrible.
Sorry, you don't poop where you eat.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something about one of the closest. So we have a couple racetracks close proximity to Ottawa,
Yeah.
namely Mont Tremblant Circuit. There's something. So that circuit is owned,
By the Stroll family.
really.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Lawrence Stroll bought that a few years ago.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me, I just burped. They own that track, so whenever you go to Mont Tremblant Circuit, you're essentially going into their homeland
That's
in a way.
so cool.
It's I think it's invite only. It's a very closed off track. Like you have to go join clubs and all that. I was talking to one guy I met at F1 2 years ago.
Okay.
Shay Smith. I think you've met him a few times at Apex.
Chase, CHE.
CHE, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a karting club, and he has a few racers. That karting club used to race actually with Lance Stroll,
That's crazy.
which is pretty cool. It was all in the same club. They were actually a little faster than him. Anyways,
They're faster than Lance?
yeah, because they were faster karters. I don't know the whole story about it. But obviously, his father, gentleman, drove him into the in F1. Lots
Okay.
of money, bought them way in.
Yeah.
But now, Aston Martin is partly Canadian, which
That's
is pretty
cool.
cool. I think that's really cool. I don't know what else to say about it.
Aston Martin. Something about James Bond drives Aston Martins, doesn't he?
Oh, he
I think
does.
there's a
You guys
new.
know Daniel Craig is gonna be in the new Bond movie, even though he's kind of like after the last one, he was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And
He's
doing
so
another
good
one.
though.
I know.
He's
but would
amazing.
you rather Daniel Craig or Pierce Brosnan?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig.
Pierce Brosnan's old,
But Pierce Brosnan has that old sexy man to him.
but he's not like
Sorry,
not
what?
active, Like he.
No, but like
Daniel Craig's like you see him without a shirt on, man. That guy's fucking huge.
Yeah, but that's not James Bond. James Bond is a slender, sexy man, not a
Slender man.
Slender.
not a
Not a whacking
deezed-
inflatable arm
not a
flailing two-man?
deezed guy with blue eyes. Like what?
What? Whacking
Evacuating
inflatable.
inflatable.
Can we just have a whacking inflatable James Bond?
If we had
Like
one,
a-
we need one for the back of our frame here.
How do we get one?
I'm gonna check
I think.
Amazon right
Well,
now.
we
Okay.
have the announcer right here. He can
That's
he can
true.
point us in the right direction. He gave us the
Yes.
address actually.
We could put like 10 mil wrenches on each hand, and he'll just slap around 10 mil wrenches everywhere.
Just throw the
That'd be good.
wrenches.
I can Amazon Prime
Yeah.
one for $106.
Should we do
A
it right
wacky
now?
How big is it?
20 feet.
Oh my goodness. I don't think that would
Should
fit.
we custom make it?
That
to,
wouldn't
like-
fit. It would just be slapping the ceiling like every couple seconds, and I think it'd be really loud. You
That's
just hear like.
I think it'd be worth it. It's not bad.
So
yeah,
we didn't talk too much about electric cars this time, except for the electric Hummer.
that is cool though.
That is really cool.
never
Electric
expected
vehicles, and they're there. They're
They
going
are.
crazy. Tesla is killing it. GM is trying to get a piece of the cake, and most manufacturers they're buying into. They're not buying into this, but like they're moving forward because
No,
if you don't
they're definitely buying
evolve,
into it,
you don't
GM's
stay.
investing $3 billion into this plant. I'd say that's buying into it.
What kind of plant is it? Is it like a tomato plant? Sorry.
You're lucky these brown bag coffee roasters cups are made of ceramic and not metal, because I would have chucked this at you.
If it wouldn't shatter, you would have chucked it at me. So I like the progression of this episode with copious amounts of coffee. We speak very energetically
Lots
and
of energy.
quickly.
Yeah,
And we made it to
yeah.
episode 5. Let's just congratulations. I'm just gonna,
Thanks, Ramsey.
congratulations to all
Yes,
of
we've
you.
done one thing 5 times. I don't know if that's huge.
I
but
think that's huge. I really do appreciate all of the feedback we've been getting from people, whether it be positive or negative. To whoever is the one person disliking our video, can you just
Is
tell
there
us?
one guy that
There's-
just keeps
yeah. Just tell us why.
Yeah.
Yeah. we-
Tell me why he ain't nothing but a dislike.
Shoot us
Tell
a
me
message. Drop us
why.
a comment. What do you
That's
not
it.
like about the podcast? We'll work on it.
Also,
Yeah.
submit user
Yeah.
questions. If you guys have questions that you want our opinion on, or you want us to try and explain to you in our horribly educated way, no, we do research. But let us know if you have any questions you want answered. If you want us to talk about specific things, like just let us know because we want to please you.
Thanks, Brandon.
When I get that feeling.
Even if it's not questions, if you want to actually come on the show, we allow that.
Yeah, come on our show.
We're going to have
Shut up, Brandon.
guests. We're booking guests actually now. We have someone who did the Cannonball Run coming on the show in a couple of weeks. It's going to be really cool.
Bet.
I'd like to learn more about that. I'm saying a lot. So our producer, Claire, is actually helping us talk a little bit more fluently, doing a little Toastmasters and stuff with us.
Toast.
Toast.
Use
Toast
mayo
that
instead
burns
of butter
hands.
on toast.
Not very good. Butter on it. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
What the heck?
So
Who
yeah,
is
there's
you?
ghosts.
Who are you?
But I hope everyone has a lovely week. We're getting closer to summer, and
Yeah.
just keep trucking. The 2 worst months of the year are almost over. That is January and February for me, at least. I don't like them. Also, stop freaking out about coronavirus. The world is not going to end. Just wash your hands and don't touch your face, and don't be racist to Chinese people, please.
yeah.
Also,
because
Don't do that.
just
That's
don't
horrible.
don't use this as an excuse to be racist because it's not their fault. I just wanted to say that.
Being a dickhead isn't cool.
Nope. And
It's not.
on a lighter note, I have a great joke. I think if we're gonna wrap this one up.
I thought you already said your joke.
No, I
like
didn't say my
5
joke.
times.
I got a great
in
joke.
one
Before you say
whole
that,
okay.
episode.
Just another big thank you to Brown Bag Coffee Roasters for being our first official sponsor.
Yeah.
And for sponsoring us and supporting us basically since day one. So
Day one.
thanks again for the awesome coffee and
Yeah.
being our favorite coffee maker and supporter.
Yeah, I just try it out. So we're gonna try and have Brown Bag Coffee with us at every single event that we do moving forward, so that you guys can try it. Because once you try it, I think
Yeah.
it speaks for
Once you
itself.
go brown, you never go back.
I mean,
I started brown and I'm still brown, so I guess that's true. I guess it's true. So I want to hear this joke. I want to know if I should walk off beforehand or after. Like,
no.
can you?
So you guys enjoyed last week's joke.
It was good.
This one
If
is.
this one's garbage, I'm kicking you off the podcast. Like, there's no.
I am the podcast.
Comment who you think is your podcast.
And hit that smash that subscribe button.
Yo, guys, Jake Paul here. Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it. Just smash. Oh God, we're becoming YouTubers now. That's bad. So, question for all of you: why do chicken coops only have 2 doors?
Oh no.
Because if they had 4 doors, they'd be chicken sedans.
Okay. Ramsey's kicked off the podcast forever.
Why did Sally fall off the swings?
Why?
She had no arms.
Oh my goodness.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Not Sally.
Oh. Okay. Well, on that disappointment, drive safely in your chicken sedans.
Left lane is for passing, not going slow. Have a good night.
Turn your high beams off. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great week. We will see you on episode 6.